Ready for part 2?
Yes, we are ready for part 2.
Okay. Hi, I'm the fire.
And I'm the water, and you're listening to part 2 of last episode, where we talked about what we did last weekend, basically.
But I got carried away, and we just talked about what I did in the weekend. So
Yeah.
part 2 is for the water to tell us what she did in her weekend.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I feel like now it doesn't sound as adventurous as yours. I don't think it is as adventurous. But it was cute. Because, so, in this thing that I was saying last episode, part 1, having a very hectic first week of being here. Vacationing at home, I don't know, in a weird way. My dad and my grandma had been telling me that they wanted to go shopping, and apparently my grandma wants to buy me, or wants me to have a more adult wardrobe, more professional, or something along those lines.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It was funny. The
come?
thing is that when I first got here, my dad said that we needed to fix the kitchen faucet because it was broken. And when we first, we changed it from one of those, I don't know, regular ones to the ones that have a hose and a spray thingy, so you can, I don't know, be more, I don't know, wash stuff better.
Sure.
And I first changed that one with my brother. But of course, my brother's not here anymore. So now my dad was basically kind of waiting for me to come back so that I would be the one to get underneath the sink and do it.
Of course.
So because I did that, my grandma was like, "Oh, I'll pay you in clothing, for your labor."
Nice.
Which I was like, "Okay, I'll take it." And she said, "Yeah.
Sure.
But you should get some she didn't say fancy, but more polished looking stuff." And I was like, "Why are you against my t-shirts?" And the thing is that it tapped into this.
What, does she want you to have blouses?
Yeah, I think so. And the thing is, it tapped into this internal dialogue that I have with myself about how to dress and what's my style, because for my entire life, as long as I can remember, I've always really liked fashion, and I used to have shopping days with my mom where I would style her, and it was a lot of fun. And there was a period of my life where I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I don't know, I really enjoy fashion and stuff. But on the other hand, I can be very lazy at getting dressed. So it can just be, black leggings, t-shirt. That's the way to go.
Yep, that sounds like you.
And then occasionally there's very inspired moments when I pull out an awesome outfit. And I'm like, I love this.
Nice.
But for realistic day-to-day life, when we're shooting or we're editing and I'm just going to be either here in my chair all day in front of the computer, or we're going to be recording stuff, moving around cameras and lights and equipment, I need it to be practical. And I need to be able to move and do stuff. So pretty blouses pretty much don't fit the schedule, They kind of have had a place more when I have before, school presentations and meetings and that kind of thing, where you have to look more formal, but that's where it ends, So my dad had been telling me for 4 days, since last Sunday, to go shopping. And then because it was Mother's Day, they were saying that, oh yeah, there's discounts and there's sales and stuff for Mother's Day, so maybe you can get even more stuff. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. But I don't have the energy at all to go shopping. Plus, there's this thing that you and I have talked about because of the Y2K and 90s fashion trends that are coming back,
Oh,
it is
yeah.
so weird to go shopping. Like,
Yeah,
stuff
it
is so strange. And I don't want to look like the 2000s. And I don't want to go back to low-rise jeans. That's a freaking crime. So, I don't know. Anyway, so in that spirit of not wanting to go shopping, and this thing that the other day, my grandma has a ton of like decoration stuff in the house, and she had this vase that was super old and it broke, so she needed to replace it. And we were looking online, but she was like, no, I don't want anything that's breakable. And funnily enough, she ended up getting something that's breakable. But
oh no.
but she said, why don't we go to Tequis and get something there? And when she's like, oh, I don't want to go to Tequis. No, why? Because that means that I have to drive. And unlike you, like you were saying last episode, that it takes only 30 minutes to get to the cute lake, it takes about an hour, even more, because now they're fixing, quote unquote, the highway. So getting there is not that bad, but returning takes at least an hour. Yeah, but anyway, so we ended up going. We left here at like noon, picked my dad up in San Juan, which is like another city close, like the equivalent of, I don't know, Vancouver to Surrey, I guess.
I guess.
And we headed to Tequis, which ended up actually being quite cool. And first, I was like, during the entire time, I was thinking of the assignment that the Bicha gave us of recording stuff for TikTok, because we apparently are very bad at doing TikTok-y stuff because we're so old. So we're
bad at Gen Z.
Yeah.
Content.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it is.
So we need to record it and prepare it for her, and she'll do her magic. So I was thinking about that.
I was very bad because I did not do any content about my lake day.
I just did like 2 things. When I remembered, which is part of the thing. So I was having this kind of, not a full-on argument, but this conversation with my dad, because I didn't really have I just had a pear in the morning and I didn't really eat anything else, and I was starving. And I said, I want to go have lunch and maybe then we can go shopping. And he said, where do you want to go? And he asked it in this way in which he asks things, but he already has the answer. So you can say whatever you want, but we're going to end up going to wherever he wants to go anyway. So I was like, I don't know. Why don't we go somewhere else? We always, and by always is like the last time that we went in December, we always go to the same place. Let's find out something new. And my grandma said, oh yeah, there's this old restaurant that's always been there forever. And I was like, yeah, see, I haven't gone there. So we can go. And my dad was like, no. And he has this thing where I feel like you and I are foodies, maybe me more than you, but we have this adventurous spirit when we go and try to find places.
We do.
And
we like going to different places.
Yes. Yeah. Well, my dad is always being a bully towards me and I guess us in that experience of like, oh, you like your hipster, expensive, ugly places. No. And I'm like, no, that is not the point.
I mean, they might be expensive, but they're not ugly.
Exactly. They might be expensive. Maybe the food won't be great, but you only know if you go. Like, that's the only way to find out.
Yeah.
So I was saying, why don't we find somewhere else? And he said, no. I mean, look as much as you want, but we're going here. And then we got there. We got to like the market with the like artesanías, you know, where you can buy souvenirs and cute stuff. And then we walked towards the restaurant and it was closed. So we had to find another place to go to. And then we were in there and my grandma said, oh yeah, this is the other one. Like, and it's, I don't know. I think she said something along the lines of, this hotel has been here for like, I guess like 100 years or something. It's really old. And my dad was like, wow. Yes, it just looks like it has old Acapulco hotel vibes. And I'm like, I mean, I guess it kind of does. And the funny thing is that, you know, that feeling that you said in the last part of this episode, or these 2 episodes, where you said that you had like that balneario or like public, not public, but like full feeding. Thing. Yeah. Well, I had the same thing because at some point we went into the restaurant and my hands were so dusty from like touching and grabbing a bunch of stuff at the what's the word for that? Like, not crafts, because I feel like craft is very
you mean like the
arts and crafts sort of thing. Yeah.
No.
But
just artisan made
stuff.
Souvenirs.
Yeah, artisan market, let's say. Yeah. So my hands were super dusty, and I went to the bathroom with my grandma, and it looked like genuinely it was taken out, like a time capsule had been put around it. And it looked like the kind of bathroom that you would go to in like a water park or whatever 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It was so funny to see it. Wow. And the hotel, like, because so the restaurant faces the public plaza, like the main square, and then you can go through the restaurant into the hotel, which has a cute pool and the rooms around. It's like a hacienda style thing, and it's really cute. Right. And I was like, man, I want to go here. And I even said to my grandma, we should come here just like 2 days and stay here, just the 2 of us. We don't invite my dad. And she was like, yes, I like that idea. Nice. Yeah, and it was really cute. So it ended up being quite nice.
I feel like you don't really have cute moments with Rule that often.
Yes, exactly. And I was remembering this time years ago where she used to go, like, when we were kids, her and my grandpa used to take us on vacation to the beach every year, which then stopped when he died and transformed into going to the beach with my aunt and with my grandma. And then when we were in school and our schedules were very crazy and busy and stuff, that again changed, and it was just my grandma going on vacation for her birthday with my aunt. But then when I graduated school, she asked me to go with her, or like invited me to go with her. And that was also really cute. It was both a test to my patience during the first 2 days because it was so annoying. But then it was really, really cute and I really enjoyed it. So it kind of gave me vibes of doing that again. I will say though that it's very different, and it's something that my dad said when we were getting out of the car when we had just arrived. He said, no. Now it's a whole adventure to go out with your grandma because she's very fragile now. And I've been thinking a lot about this, of how we've had arguments, her and me, for a very long time because of how we think of things differently. And there's many things where we think differently, but there's one in particular where she is very against I don't know exactly, but she's very stubborn, which we were making fun of the other day, but in a very like negative way for her, I want to say, because she has rheumatoid arthritis, which means that her hands, like her joints, are inflamed and they're painful and they eventually become fixed. Like he can't move her fingers anymore, or her hands, or like if you see her hand, it doesn't look like this, it looks like this because this joint has like fused here and doesn't move anymore. So she's in a lot of pain most of the time. But she and I know that it's the kind of thing where I don't know if this is something that we mentioned in another episode, or if this is just something that we talked about and because of something we heard or read, of how you can't, like, pain is a very individual experience, and it's a very sort of intimate thing because you can't fully know another person's pain.
Right.
And so along those lines, I mean, I know that I don't know how she feels, and I can't experience the same thing she's going through. Maybe I have similar experiences, but they're not the same. But I've tried to be like, you don't need to just lay there and let yourself be in pain and do nothing about it. Because, I mean, there's nothing that you can do about the arthritis thing, but she could walk more, do some weight training. She used to go swimming all the time, but she doesn't do it anymore because she's scared. And this is something that I told you when I was heading back from like this weekend because of a conversation that we had in the car, which I'm going to get to. But she's so scared of so many things that she doesn't do them anymore. So now she's just basically kind of like wilting away. Oh. And I'm like, you could, I mean, I'm not saying go out and be a bodybuilder tomorrow, but lift half a pound weight or something. But she's very stubborn and she doesn't do it. So my dad was like,
but would that help her, or is it just like pain, or
it would help with like her mobility?
How do you mean?
Because if you see her walking, she's super slow. And she tripped one day, and it was a whole thing because my dad tried to catch her, but he didn't. She ended up not falling, or like she held on to something, but my dad did fall and he hurt his knee. And so, yeah, it was like a whole scene from a comedy sort of thing.
Wow.
And the thing there is that she could improve her mobility a little. I'm not saying she's going to be perfect at all. Like, there's, muscle
decay. Do you think she would go to, like, a fitness therapist?
No, I don't think she would, because she doesn't see any value in doing it anymore, I feel like.
How? What?
Because she is so stubborn. Like, don't even get me started.
She doesn't see any value in, like, improving stuff?
No. That's the annoying part. Where she's saying, oh, my knees are so bad and my legs are so bad, but they're not going to get any better, so there's no point. And I'm like, they can get a little better. You could maintain your strength, because there's that thing of you start losing muscle mass when you start getting older. So you're not training to build more. You're training to maintain it.
To maintain.
Yeah. But she's not doing that.
I see.
Yeah. So
isn't she a doctor? Shouldn't she know this?
Yes. But it's that thing where doctors are the worst patients. So. So it's like a test of my patience. A little. And
I see that.
it's there's only so much you can do for somebody if they don't want to help themselves, kind of thing going on as well.
I know.
So I'm like, and I've been trying to tell her to convince her to go to Vancouver because she really likes the beach and she's never been to Canada, so I think it'd be a really cool thing to do. But she's like, no, why? There's no point. And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, not with that attitude, there isn't. But
wow.
But she actually, when we were heading out over the weekend, she was about to she was regretting going the night before, but then on the day she didn't say anything, so she really she didn't give herself the chance to back out, which was cool because then we ended up going and it was fun. There was a moment in which I said to her, "Oh, you're walking faster now," and my dad was like, "Yeah, she's in second gear." And I was like, "That's hilarious."
You guys are mean.
But it's really funny. She ended up buying the things she wanted. We went to the okay restaurant. I admit it's not the best restaurant, but it's a different culinary experience. It was cool.
Yeah.
Then there was this thing that I was laughing at because it started raining, but for like 2 seconds. And the thing is, there's a huge difference between like Vancouver rain, which is just drizzle all day, every day, versus Querétaro rain, which is huge ass water drops
pour down. Yeah.
that fall. Yeah.
I miss pour down rain.
Which is either, but the thing, okay, see, I wanted a pouring rain sort of dramatic moment. Yeah. But no, it was like 2 seconds and then it stopped raining. But it was enough. It was enough to scare everybody out of the street. And people were not going out anymore. So it was like, haha, that's the moment where we can go out and the hallways are going to be clear and you can just go anywhere very quickly. And I was walking because there was like the hallway in the market, in the plaza, and then there was a patio which didn't have a ceiling or like a roof or anything, and I was walking there because I was telling my dad, it's not raining, you're not gonna get wet, it's fine, and even if you do, it's like 2 drops of water, like it's nothing. It's like no, it's wet, and I'm like, oh, this thing, I guess it takes living somewhere that it rains all the time for you to not give a shit about getting wet in the rain. So yeah, then we ended up going for ice cream, which was really nice because there's this place where you can get like the red wine with ice cream thing.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
And they had, I mean, I had just chocolate ice cream, but my dad and my grandma had the wine thing with a citrus flavor ice cream, which apparently was really good. It was like,
it's usually lemon.
I know, but here they do it with anything. So the previous time we went there, they had it with passion fruit, and it was really good. Ooh. But this time they didn't have passion fruit because it hasn't been raining. So, and actually, I really appreciated that the lady at the ice cream place was like, yeah, no, it hasn't been raining, so we haven't had any passion fruit. And if the weather is really dry, we're not going to have any. It was like, oh, that's really nice. Like, very local, natural sort of way of doing it.
I appreciate that.
So they ended up getting the citrus one, which was lemon, mandarin, well, tangerine, grapefruit, and some other thing.
Ooh,
that sounds which they really liked. And I got these. I want to show them to you because I think you're gonna laugh and you're gonna say that I'm insane.
Show me.
Okay, I will be. I need to go get them, so I will be right back.
2 hours later.
Okay, so my grandma bought some things and I bought others because there's a quartz mine. Around. So you can buy gemstones and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. I love that. I asked my mom to bring my gemstones.
And so my grandma got this one. That's really cute.
Cute.
And this other thing that is also really cool. It's just a cube.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is it? Obsidian?
Yeah. Yeah,
nice.
It is. Oh, wow. That kind of looked red for a moment. Yes. And I am insane. I am certifiably insane because I am bringing this with me to Vancouver. I haven't actually even opened it. But, you know, we were shopping, you and I, the other day. And I was saying, I kind of wanted to buy bookends because now where I'm living, I don't have a bookcase or anything. So I do have a bunch of books and they fall or they have to be kept horizontal. And I'm just going to buy you one because there's 2 of these and there's no point in unpacking the 2 of them.
5 hours later.
This is really cute, but I'm insane because my bookends are rocks.
Of course.
And I haven't weighed them, but I would venture and say that total they're about like 5 kilos. But look at them.
Oh my god! It's so pretty.
I know.
It's very watery.
I know. It's really cute.
Wow.
But I'm fucking insane because this one thing I think weighs like 3 kilos. Like 6 pounds.
Yep. I see that. It looks heavy.
So I'm insane. But it looks really cool. Yeah. Look at that.
It is. I like it.
I know.
Nice.
So I got those. My grandma got her another vase and her rocks. And it was really cute. And then on the last part of the journey, we were in the car. We went to drop my dad off. And we were heading back home to traffic because of the highway that's being built. And at some point she was saying something about how she started talking about my grandpa and how, and I don't know, I like, on the one hand, I find it really cute when she talks about him because she doesn't do it very often. And he died, what, like 13 years ago?
Do you remember him?
Yeah. He was my favorite grandparent.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, out of the 3 that I had.
I see.
Yeah, and the thing is, he taught me a lot of stuff. He cultivated the thing about like crossword puzzles and philosophy and reading. Yeah. I think he informed a lot of the things that I like doing.
That's cute.
Yeah. So we're talking about it, and at some point she said something about how at some moment in their lives he was very I think she said it like he had so many dreams, things he wanted to do. And when she said that, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's where I got it from, you know, which nice. I thought was really cute because he always wanted to do stuff.
You don't feel like your mom and your dad were like that?
I think they were, but maybe it in a different way. Maybe in the kind of thing where if your parents tell you, you don't really pay attention, but if your grandparents tell you because you like them better because they're nicer, being grandparents, then you do listen to them.
I see.
And he always had a thing of telling me that I could do whatever I wanted to do, and I just had to, like, in a very pragmatic way, just like, work hard, do whatever you want to do. You can do anything you want, but just have to work at it. So she was saying that he was like a dreamer. He wanted to do all these things. Like he wanted to learn how to fly a plane and how to fish, which he did learn how to fish. And he also started taking flying lessons, I guess. Yeah.
Nice.
And at some point in their lives, he wanted to buy like a vacation house. And she was saying, oh, yeah, he wanted to buy this house in, like, Huatulco, which is where we used to go to the beach.
Huatulco is amazing.
Yeah. Or here in Tequis. But then, because there's so many earthquakes in Oaxaca, in Huatulco, then that's why I said no. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me right now? She's like, yeah, I said no because of the earthquakes. Like, what if the house falls down and it's so far away? And he was saying that he was going to go check the progress of the building every month. And I was like, no, you're not going to go. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And, like, the constructing people, like, how do you find somebody that's going to build it when it's so far away? It's like, there's people that do that professionally. What are you talking about? Imagine, then she discouraged him of the first Huatulco thing. And then he said, oh, so why don't we do it in Tequis? And they went to see a place and they had the blueprints ready, and they even went on a tour of like one of the mines where they get, you know, these things. And she has the thing that she bought there. And then I was like being a bully to her. It's like, oh, you can buy stones, but not a house. And she was like, yeah, but then I said no because it was gonna be cold.
Really?
And I was like, you said no
to
the house because it was gonna be cold.
No.
Yeah.
Now we don't have a house in Tequis.
Exactly. We don't have a house in Tequis because you're gonna be cold. I was like, you fucking adapt to the weather. What are you talking about? And it's only like you were gonna live there all year. And even if you were even more, you adapt to the weather. What are you talking about? And I was genuinely so pissed at her and like that idea of being scared of earthquakes. Which I mean, I guess it's like a genuine fear because what if your house falls down? But You know, engineers, there's a way of doing it where your house survives.
Right. People live there.
Yes. And then the other one of being freaking cold. I was like, can I just strangle you right now? Please. Like,
you cannot.
What? And then I went on, like, I threw a tantrum in the car. I was like, you are telling me this, and here I am, and there's a housing crisis, and affordability crisis. I cannot buy a house if I want to, and you squandered the opportunity of a summer house because you were cold. It's like, man, this woman. Which is when I texted you and I sent you the voice note of like, please don't let me be like that.
Yes, I was gonna say. So then you had some thoughts and feelings about yourself.
Because there's this thing that I know, and we've talked about this before, in and outside of ACOT.
Many a times.
Yes. Where I think the first time you actively said something to me was with the big magic stuff of like not letting fear drive your car.
Yeah.
And being here, like before I left for Vancouver and then being back here, I noticed this thing that my grandma has of she's such a scaredy cat. And she says that now in a funny way where she says stuff like, oh, I never learned to ride a bike because I was scared. I never learned to skate because I was scared. I never did this or this other thing. And I'm like, that sounds horrible though. I mean, she did do a lot of stuff in life, you know, but there's this thing, there's this theme of her not doing stuff because she was scared.
And it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Did it?
It did. In a different way, because I tend to think that I am less of a scaredy cat than she is. And my fear is very specific. It's very targeted.
Yes. Right.
But, yeah, I was thinking of that. Of, Jesus, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to, in the same, obituary, eulogy spirit.
Yeah.
I don't want them or me or the whatever paper to be like, oh, she was so scared she didn't do anything. Like, what the fuck? I wanted to be like, no, she was adventurous and she did this and she did that and la la la. So it was, a very, like, a moment of reflection of being like, I don't want to be scared of even dying because during the pandemic at some point, like with this theme of being scared, she kept saying that she didn't want to die because of the pandemic, which I totally understand, right? But there was a point in which both her and I, and my brother was there too, we had a conversation of being scared and doing stuff. And it was when things started to open up and I wanted to start going swimming again. And I said, okay, I get that you're scared, but I'll be super careful. And you can actually go too, because you are going to swim into a pool of chlorinated water. The virus cannot get you there. And maybe once you're outside, you can wear a mask and you can wash your hands and la 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 and be far away from people. And, like do all the things that you're supposed to be doing to not get COVID. But also, like what? You said that you don't want to die from COVID? So what, you're just going to die in your house doing nothing? Like, I would rather die doing something that I like doing, like out in the world, exploring, living life, than just sort of saving myself, keeping myself safe, because I'm scared of doing all the other stuff that's going to kill me, that I'm going to die anyway, but in a boring way, which is a very extreme way of putting it, but
yeah,
like that was the feeling, And so that, again, it came back to that, which is now why I'm wondering, like, she's here, and I've thought a lot about this because both my grandmas are now over 80. Like, my mom's mom, my nonna, is turning 86 next week.
Damn.
Yeah, and Rule, my dad's mom, turns 83 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they are on, like that average mortality age thing that we have these days of 80 something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's this other old lady that my dad works with who is also around 80. And she seems like such a cool person. Like, she goes out, she travels. She used to teach ballet. She has a ballet school. And I think she also sometimes go to still teach and dance and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I see her and I'm like, see, I want to be like that. I want to be old and still be doing stuff, learning stuff. I want to live for not necessarily as long as I can, I guess. I don't know, but as best as I can. Like, doing the most things I want to do.
Ooh, I like that.
So like what you were saying in the last part of this of I want to go hiking more. Maybe not maybe I don't have to force myself to go every weekend, but put more attention into that and more intention in doing it more often. And I don't know, all these trips that I want to do with my friends, or I mean, not even the bigger ones, because I know that like you and I have talked about doing a trip. I've talked about doing a trip with other of my friends, but we kind of put it on hold. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to plan it. Oh yeah, we're going to do it. But then we don't. We don't follow up with it. Or even the smaller ones. Like, I don't see my friends anymore, but I'm like, I can see them next week. I can talk to them in a month. I can talk to them later. And then the later never comes. So it's like, what are you even doing? Right? So, yeah, it's been a very thoughtful weekend because of that.
I see that for both of us.
Yes.
Have you ever talked to your nonna about her life and her mortality?
Yes. More about her life. And I've had this thing which is actually I have a list of recs for when I don't have ideas of what to rec. And I guess mine today can be this that I have where I wrote, visit your grandparents and listen to their stories. Because I love doing that. Like, it's so cool. And I mean, people's storytelling skills vary, of course. But my nonna especially, both Ruli and my nonna have an awesome way of telling you about their lives. And cool. I can sit and just listen to them talk for hours, and it's so interesting and it's really cool. And like, my nonna will tell me about when she was a kid, or when she married my grandpa, or one of the times they moved around because they lived in so many places in the country. And they did so many, like, my grandpa was kind of like a jack of all trades, and he worked in a bunch of places doing a ton of different things. So that's kind of been the conversation with her. And the mortality thing, there's like a running joke here with Rule of planning her funeral or sending her to one of the, retirement community type of places. Yes. So it's more like that, more like we're bullying her.
You guys are mean.
Not so much. I mean, we do joke about her dying, but my brother doesn't like it. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Because both of them, I feel like, have a dark sense of humor, so you can joke with them about it, and I think they're okay. Yeah. So they know. I mean, and also,
I see where you get it from.
They're 80 something, so it's not like they're thinking they're gonna live forever. I feel like they've both come to terms with how long they've been alive for, which I think, I know that at least Rule, my dad's grandma side, her mom died when she was 70. Ooh. And her grandma also died at 70. So for her, she was like 70. That's what I'm gonna die.
She passed the mark.
Yeah. So now she keeps saying like, oh, it's so crazy. And the other day she was just saying that she never saw her grandma being as old as she is now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it was we were having that conversation of how old people are and how old they seem, because even when I think you and I were talking about this of Biden right now running
I was
for
gonna say
president and
we
all
were
that.
talking about the old how
Yeah.
that.
Because there was a
Keep going.
picture that I saw of Abraham Lincoln right beside Biden, and they look just as old. Like they look the same. But Lincoln was like 50 something and Biden is 80. So that is kind of insane. And I mean, of course, there's no way of really knowing it. But when Rilla was saying that she had never seen somebody as old as she is right now in her childhood, I was thinking, I wonder if it's just that you didn't notice that your grandma was as old then as you are now. Not in terms of time, but in terms of aging body, you know? I don't know. And
I remember there was this post saying something about how the Golden Girls were like 50 and they look old,
Really?
like really old. And right now it's like J-Lo is 50.
Yeah, I want to Google that. Golden Girls.
How old were they when they were filming?
Yeah. Oh, Betty White. Well, I mean, okay, when did they come out? 92? No, why not? 85. It came out in 85. And Betty White died being 100? No way. What? Wow. I mean, she was 99 apparently.
So it says one of them, Rue McClanahan, I don't know. The youngest being 51 years old when Golden Girls began.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's insane. No.
I know.
Like, even the other day when we were talking about your mom doing her old lady paperwork or whatever, it sounds like a joke.
Yeah, because she's turning 60 and my mom does not look 60
I know.
if we think as 60 as this like old
lady with a cane.
I don't know. Yeah. No.
Yeah, and I mean, this is like a whole other cup of tea, but I ended up even having a conversation with my grandma about age differences now and how people she said that when she was 20, she felt like she was older, like she felt grown up.
Right.
And I said, "Oh, like see, that's a huge difference. At 20, I didn't feel grown up. Maybe at 30, I will, you know."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like that whole shift of age and stuff. It was a very interesting conversation.
Like, how does it happen though? Because I kind of understand the whole like adulting thing that we have as a generation of like, oh, before you just like you went to school and you had a job and you got married like super quickly and you kind of like became this grown up
person.
Kind of. Yeah. But in a like, I don't want to say seamlessly way because I wasn't there, so I don't know. But like kind of from what my dad told me at some point, it was very like, oh yeah, like one day you were in school and the other day you had a job and you had a family kind of thing. I'm generalizing it like exaggerating.
I mean,
a little
I don't know. I guess it was kind of seamless from the one answer that I have right now, which is my grandma saying that she did feel old at 20. Like at 20, she was already out of her house. She was studying, living by herself.
Right.
And so I
see like, but here's what I was saying. Like, I kind of get the like psychological sense of that, or of how we don't feel like complete adults yet, and it has to do with like the school system and the economy and moving out and like a lot of things, right? That we've kind of talked about here and there. So I kind of understand that, but I'm a little sort of like baffled about physically how does that happen?
Oh, that's just medicine stuff. Like vaccinations, general better public health.
But like just like taking more care, like
Yeah.
how did the Golden Girls look like that at 50, and how does JLo look like that at 50?
Because people are healthier. Like if you think, and I did this one time, I don't remember exactly the data, but if you look back on how old people used to, like how old people were when they died 100 years ago and 200 years ago, like 200 years ago a 50-year-old was ancient. But then as medicine developed and there were better public health practices, like they are as simple some as washing your hands. Like,
Right.
because you wash your hands now, people don't die of dysentery. Or just finding cures for other stuff that killed people, like tuberculosis, general like infections that are handled better now. Better food quality, better medicine in general. Like vaccinations are huge too. That has given people a better quality of life, which has made them last longer. In a very simple way of putting it.
Right. I just feel like it's insane. Just the looks, the all grandma look versus like now looking at my mom.
I mean,
you know,
because,
not to say JLo because it's like, oh well, it's JLo, but like look at my mom and I'm like, she's 60, but she doesn't have that like granny looking look.
Yeah, exactly. Or if we look at any of our parents, I feel like that happens. And it's like saying that maybe 50 years ago, if you had heart disease, for example, at 40, medications weren't as good. If you had a heart attack, the cure wasn't as good as it is now. Like now you are more functional and before you were less, you know, or the solution lasts longer now than it did before. There's I don't know, a ton of stuff in that house.
Yeah. But also I feel like at some point, again, I saw a post on Facebook of like old photos for like teenagers.
Yeah.
And they look old.
Yeah.
They look grown up. And it's really, because even when you think about how like the Disney princes were mostly 16, they weren't what we know as a 16-year-old now.
Yeah.
They were what the previous generation saw as 16, which is a young woman ready to be married.
Yeah. I mean, I do think
like they weren't kids like 16-year-olds are now.
I do think it like, that generational thing that we've talked about so much. I do think it goes alongside that of how long you are at home before you leave to be an adult. Because okay, if you think about it, I was just looking at some photos that a photographer did in the early days of the Industrial Revolution, where kids were starting to work in factories. And if you look at the kid, they were like, I don't know, 10 years old or something. And they looked, again, older because they were working a lot more. Like, they had a very bad quality of life.
Right.
They were being exploited, and they had to grow up faster because of their environment, because of what they had to do to live. But now, because you don't have kids that have to go work, you have them in schools and you have them more sheltered, and you wait until they're 18 and then they go to college and then they finish studying at 22.
And not even 18 anymore. It's like 20s.
When you go to college?
When you leave your house.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
we don't leave our houses at 18.
Yeah, but what I mean
like
is like,
most.
or at least you go to college and then you're like out of schooling age at 22.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't know, 100 years ago or whatever, where out of schooling age was a lot younger than that.
Yeah, I guess.
And so, see, I don't know, I think it's a combination of a bunch of stuff, social and biological, I guess.
Evolutionary.
Yes.
Interesting. Very intriguing, this whole thing
Mm-hmm.
of the age.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was a very interesting weekend.
Did you get to any conclusions other than don't let me be this way?
Not really. I think that was the
But that
main
was a big one.
takeaway, and the anger at not having a Tequis house.
Of course. Who wouldn't want a Tequis house?
Yes. And then that, in spite of me initially not wanting to go, it was a nice day out, going somewhere.
Nice. Look at you giving it a chance.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really cute. And I got my giant ass rocks.
I'm excited for your rugs.
I mean, the good thing is that because I came in with a bunch of stuff that I had to bring, that means that I have space to bring my rocks with me. They're so big.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yes. So, this is the end of part 2.
Mm-hmm. We did it.
And the rec, as I said before, is visit your grandparents and listen to their stories. And don't fall asleep.
That's sad. I don't have any grandparents.
Borrow grandparents.
I do borrow Pablo's grandmom now.
Nice.
And when his grandfather was alive too, I feel like because they weren't my grandparents and because I didn't really have such a relationship with any of mine, I really was genuinely excited and happy to spend time with them. And it's something that I really treasured about Pablo's family, where they would have barbecues on the weekends and get together and have their grandparents over, and we would play board games all day, and I really liked that because it was different from my experience.
That's cute.
So I do borrow grandparents. I do borrow them.
Nice. Yeah. I sometimes think about how when I was a kid, every Sunday we would have lunch with my grandma. And it was so awesome because it was the time where all my cousins got together and we watched cartoons and then we played Nintendo or put up plays and danced and sung for our parents, and it was really funny. And then when I lived in Mexico City with my mom and my brother, we would go to visit my grandpa's brother and his family, and that was also really cute, cousins and family and lunch. And so yeah, it was really cute, that whole family spending time with. So
Cute rank. Visit family, listen to their stories.
Yes.
Whatever family you have.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you don't have any, borrow some like I do.
Yes. And tell us about it.
Very well. Yes. Share.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week for another cup of tea.
Okay, bye. Yes, more tea. Hopefully a better tea than your
nasty green thing.
Toothpaste water.
Yes, it'll be better.
Awesome.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us.
To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.